I'm Bobby Beniers, principal at CoinFund. We're a venture capitalist firm that's been around since 2015. Super excited to dive into it. Maybe just to start off, do you want to introduce yourself and maybe tell us the problem or journey that led you to founding DFlow?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Good to be here. I'm the founder of DFlow. We started in 2021, and prior to working on DFlow, I was in high-frequency trading. So that has influenced a lot of how we think about Solana and what we actually build. Concretely, what we build is a Solana DEX aggregator focused on offering the best prices to users and making the on-chain trading microstructure as efficient as possible for best pricing for users. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to dig in about DFlow. I know there's a handful of DEX aggregators in the Solana ecosystem. So I'd like to start off by just hearing like kind of what differentiates DFlow and how you best serve all of the actors involved in your ecosystem. So retail users, traders, makers, takers, wallets, etc.
Yep. So from the perspective of what differentiates DFlow as a DEX aggregator relative to other DEX aggregators, we focus extremely heavily on the microstructure of the network, meaning, one, we're not multi-chain in any way. We think deeply about how can we make the trading experience the best for on-chain market makers. We think about very deeply how to make the experience the best for on-chain traders, even if they don't notice the price improvements that we deliver them. So we spend a massive amount of time on our pricing and our routing, and we spend a lot of time on our liquidity and transaction landing. And these all sort of like come together in an ever-evolving system that we're pushing out over the past couple of years and continue to do over the next couple of years.
Maybe an easy one is how do users interact with DFlow? So I know you guys obviously spend a lot of time on optimizing the flow and routing it to the best prices, right? If I'm a retail user versus if I'm a sophisticated trader, like how do I interface with the protocol?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are, I think, maybe a little bit contrary to popular crypto app building. We are primarily B2B. So the way to interact with DFlow is to use front ends that have integrated DFlow. Examples of these front ends are Phantom. If you use Phantom, there's a good chance you've swapped and touched some of our routing. Jupyter's front ends and mobile apps also gather and compare quotes from DFlow, Camino, and some other pretty cool upcoming ones as well.
One thing I'm curious about is, among the different routers out there and aggregators out there, do you believe that the kind of game of capturing this order flow is kind of a winners take all, or are there kind of market structure components involved that necessitate or make it highly likely that there will be many kind of more of like an oligopolist structure to order flow markets in Solana?
I think it's going to be power law distributed. I don't think that clear market winners exist today. I think the main reason for this is the microstructure of Solana changes drastically and very quickly because this is all novel tech. And with changes that come to the network, that presents opportunities to build a differentiated routing product. The one thing I am confident and high conviction on is that Solana continues to improve the microstructure of the network. So we kind of continue to improve a lot of what we do alongside that. So it is power law distributed. I don't think there's clear winners yet. New entrants can come and dominate things. It's a knife fight in a phone booth.
Yeah. Curious from your point of view, is there anything that could be done or you'd like to see done to the core Solana protocol that would kind of like help you build a better product or help you better serve your users?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few things here. So the microstructure of the network today sort of like disproportionately favors, if you're thinking about how on-chain trading works from the perspective of a taker and a maker, the microstructure of the network today disproportionately favors takers in the sense that makers have this risk that they rest on chain at all times, and in a single leader architecture of the network, a validator has exclusive access to pick off the maker whenever the validator is sort of like leading block building. So one thing that helps drastically, maybe more indirectly to us, but helps the network, and in fact actually does help us build a better product, is continued research on things like multiple concurrent leaders, application-specific sequencing, things of that nature.
Is the trade-off of basically DFlow offering tooling to protect users from sandwich attacks and other MEV arbitrage, is that and the kind of MEV boosted staking rewards that kind of people providing economic security can receive, is that a zero-sum game, or is there some element that it's best for everyone to kind of like protect the retail users?
Yeah, it's not zero sum, but it's worth describing like, where the value comes from and who it accrues to today, and then how new value can be created. So those are like the three things I'll touch on right there. So in terms of like how that value is allocated, I guess first let me describe like the magnitude of the value here in the system. When users trade on chain, they are crossing a spread. Meaning, they're paying some amount of fees, or they're paying the difference in the bid ask. So that is the value that is concretely created. Now, there is some amount of sort of like cushion of additional value that can be extracted from the user, and this is proportional to their slippage settings, effectively. So this is sort of like the sum total of the magnitude of value that's created. And a lot of that value is allocated to the sort of like various parties in the system. Those various parties are, one, it's the user themselves. Two, it's the wallet that facilitated the user swap. Three, it's the validator. Four, it's the market maker. And then five, it's MEV searchers. So of these five parties, the first four are creating value in and of themselves. The users creating value by actually performing the trade and being willing to cross the spread, market makers from providing liquidity, validators from including it in the network, and the party here and the wallet for providing a great experience, a great UX for swapping. The one party that is obviously not providing a lot of value here is the searcher, and the searcher is accruing a lot of that value to themselves at the expense of the user, and so what we think about in terms of whether this is zero sum or not is how do we make it so that every participant in this market structure who is providing value retains as much of the value as possible, or accrues sort of the value created proportional to the value that they create. A natural consequence of this is that the searcher should not get to extract value from the system. So that's fundamentally how we think about it from the perspective of it being zero sum. Cut the searcher out, and a lot of the protocol building that we do and optimizations at the network architecture layer think about how we can cut the searcher out and redistribute that value to the other participants. And then the second part, which is is there new value to be created? The answer to that is also yes. There is value that is leaked by way of just the market structure of the network. A protocol that we work on is called conditional liquidity. Conditional liquidity is something that tightens the spread for the user, and that amount of tightening is new value created that we want to sort of redistribute back to users.
Interesting. So you mentioned conditional liquidity. I'm quite interested in maybe you sharing a little bit more about this product. From what I understand, it has basically a way of differentiating between toxic and non-toxic flow. Would love to just kind of understand like how you do that and kind of what the implications of it are.
Yeah, so this ties in really well to your previous question about what is the value that's actually created. Is this zero sum? Is it positive sum? So conditional liquidity is basically taking this idea that order flow today is has this property of toxicity, and toxicity is sort of like it's a gradient or it's a spectrum of the likelihood of picking off the maker. So just to sort of in simpler terms describe what it is, if order flow is soft or if it's non-toxic, it is unlikely to pick off the market maker. If it is toxic, it is very likely to pick off the market maker. Picking off the market maker means that they actually, on average, experience a loss per trade that they do. So from our perspective, when order flow that is both soft and not soft are combined and given to the market maker has this decision problem that they have to think about, which is how wide should I quote? And the softer the flow is, the tighter they can quote. The more toxic the flow is, the wider they have to quote. Conditional liquidity takes that sort of simple premise and says, if we can tell the market maker that certain order flow is soft and certain order flow is tight, they're able to express a gradient of spreads that they quote, meaning they can offer a tighter spread to order flow that is soft and a wider spread to order flow that is not soft. And the end result that this has on users and the actual trades that they're performing is they get better pricing. They cross a tighter spread. From the market maker's perspective, they also win because they get to capture a greater volume percentage share of the soft order flow in a competitive process with other market makers, which is great for their P&L.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense and aligns with your kind of commentary about wanting Solana to go multi-proposer and tighten the spread that way as well. Maybe switching gears a little bit. As a kind of like middleware provider in this ecosystem, it's clear to me that you guys need to work with a lot of different entities in the space. You know, we mentioned wallets and different dexes. And I'm also pretty sure you build on top of some of the Jito primitives. So I'm curious, like, how have you experienced like kind of collaboration among these, these different players within this transaction lifecycle in this Solana ecosystem?
Yeah, Jito is probably the sort of biggest participant in this lifecycle of the transaction for us. Just by way of how prevalent they are on the network. The collaboration has been fantastic. We utilize a lot of their infrastructure. We think deeply about how things can be improved for the betterment of not just users of the network, but SOL holders and validators. So yeah, the collaboration's been fantastic. It's deeply tied to how we think about optimizing the swaps for the microstructure of the network. So we love working with ecosystem participants.
Has it always been this easy? Maybe for like other builders in the audience, like in the early days of building DFlow, when maybe you didn't have as much order flow flowing through your system, were those conversations and expressing your value proposition as easy, or did they become easier as you grew at scale?
It's definitely become easier over time. The most awesome thing about working on frontier tech is that everyone is sort of like discovering the frontier alongside you. So DFlow started in 2021. We began building when we actually started hearing about Serum and on-chain order books, which was at the end of 2020, and then we formally started building DFlow at 2021. And a lot has changed since then about the structure of the network and how transactions actually make it on-chain. The thing that has not changed sufficiently, in my opinion, is the fact that a lot of the value is leaked to MEV searchers. So this, I think, is a problem that a lot of people in the space are working on and thinking about, including us. And I'm confident that solutions begin emerging that make very meaningful percentage impact improvements in the next year.
Awesome. Well, I think we're just about at time. Thank you guys for joining our conversation. We're going to be back up here in 10 minutes or so with a broader panel. Nitesh, do you want to share how people can find DFlow?
Yeah. follow DFlow Protocol on Twitter at DFlow Protocol. Also, you can follow me. I tweet a lot of stuff about MEV, Solana, first name, last name, Nitesh Nath on Twitter.
Awesome. And I'm at Bobby_Beniers, and I will be retweeting Nitesh, so you can find it either way. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.